I remembers the time when my mammy was alive. I was a small child 'fore they took to Rims Creek. All us childrens was playing in the yard one night, just running and playing like children will. All of a sudden, Mammy come to the door all excited. "Come in here this minute," she say. "Just look up at what's a-happening." And bless your life, honey, the stars was falling just like rain. Mammy was terrible scared, but we children wasn't afeard. No, we wasn't afeard. But Mammy, she say every time a star falls, somebody gonna die. Look like a lot of folks gonna die from the looks of them stars.
And when we think about the past with regard to this, it was the government that allowed slavery to exist from the very beginning. And so I think that it's important for a government agency and for the government to begin to be in the forefront of acknowledging this past, which is what was essentially a crime against humanity.
It's important that we put it online so people, whether it's in the classrooms or whether people are in other parts of the country who are trying to understand slavery and understand our past, that this information is available online, available to folks. So we definitely encourage students and teachers and genealogists from across the country to use this information and be respectful of it.
I think that information from Register of Deeds, gives you like a starting block. And it gives you the information that they have because it covers, mostly everybody that was in those counties, during that time that slavery existed.
For a municipality to acknowledge this part of history in this way seems to me unique. I have looked around to see if there were others and couldn't come up with any. And different genealogy groups have written about what Buncombe County's done. So for a municipality to acknowledge this history and make it important by doing so and make it accessible is a gift.
These documents, being able to come and see the documents and touch something that is real and tangible, I think makes a big difference from reading it in a history book. And it is my hope that by seeing those things and having that tangible experience of holding those documents in your hand, that it will kind of be a surge of positive energy to the generation today.
Old Moss, he come through the field with a man called the Speculator. They walk around just looking. All the darkies know what this means. They didn't dare look up, just walk right on. Then the Speculator, he see who he want. He talked to old Moss, then he slaps the handcuffs on him, tack him away to the cotton country. Oh, them was awful times. When the Speculator was ready to go with the slaves, if there was any who didn't want to go, he thrash 'em, then tie 'em behind the wagon and make 'em run till they fall on the ground. Then he thrash 'em till they say they go without no trouble. Sometimes some of them run away and come back to the plantation. Then it was harder on them than before. When the darkies went to dinner, the old mammy, she say, "Where am such and such?" None of the others want to tell her. But when she see them look down to the ground, she just say, "The Speculator, the Speculator."
March 13th, 1863. Dear brother, at 5 o'clock we learned positively that the enemy was just below our lowest battery. I have just sent off Myra and 2 captains' wives 18 miles into the country where she will be safe, I presume. I want you to do for me the very best you can, whether I am living or dead. If the latter, I want Myra to have and hold all I possess in my own, and her right during her life. I want no Negroes sold, except for a fault to be judged of by her or you. I give you the right to sell all my property to pay my debts, or for any other purpose. J.W. Woodfin.
The wills show much more information about who the slaves were and what the life was like, and you see it much more in common everyday language.
Item 4th. It is my will and desire that my Negro woman named Hannah be free at my death, and that the said Negro woman, her bed and bedclothes, her wearing apparel, 2 pots which is her own, 1 table, walnut toe, bedsteads, 2 chests, and 1 big wheel. The said Negro woman has her choice to live where and with whom she please, and makes choice of David Vance to be her guardian. 1838. Jonathan Prestwood.
One of the things for me in my own research that is becoming more and more of a focus of my research is the development of mentalities. And slavery was clearly meant to develop a certain mentality in people, a mentality that said you were not human, that you did not enjoy the same rights or should not have any sense of ambition of being anything else but a slave. You have a picture here of Sarah Gudger, and Sarah Gudger talks about that in her recollections of slavery. She was a slave on a plantation in Old Fort. And she talked about the fact that one of her master had bought a slave in Virginia, who on a number of occasions told them that they would one day be free. And she said that she and other slaves would tell her, no, we will never be free. We're just slaves. That's what we'll be for the rest of our lives.
On the plantation was an old woman what the boss bought from a drover up in Virginia. The boss, he bought her from one of the speculators. She laugh and tell us, some of these days y'all going to be free, just like the white folks. But we all laugh at her. No, we just slaves. We allus have to work and never be free. Then when freedom come, she say, I told y'all, now you got no learning, you got no nothing, got no home. What you going to do? Didn't I tell you?
When I think about that statement, what I see is slavery, the institution of slavery having done its job well. It had created a mentality. And when you think about it, it takes generations, I believe, to unravel that mentality, because it truly is handed down from one generation to the next. But while you're creating a mentality that says that you're second class, that you're not the same as other human beings, you're also creating a mentality on the other side that says that we are superior, the idea of white supremacy, and you can see it all around you. That's another reason why what the county is doing here is important. Again, by making these documents available, is showing that no, another group of people existed, another group of people contributed to the building of this state, this county, this city, and to the building of this nation. This is a part of the unraveling of that mentality. This is where you begin that process. We as historians, we try to do that by making, by telling all of the story.
And I am very happy to know that Buncombe County is making available files and records that we can now read. I feel that it is a realization, a confirmation that slavery did happen here in western North Carolina and right in our own county of Buncombe. Maybe now the healing can begin with all of us recognizing that it is a tool to open the doors to our past that will help us to move forward.
The fact that it's a government agency that is doing that is, in some ways, the government accepting its role and its responsibility in this history, in what has transpired over the course of our country's history. And so I think that that's important because it says to those who are descendants from the people who were slaves that we are finally recognizing the humanity of your ancestors and the important role that they played in helping to create the society that we now live in. So I think that this is very important for the county to do. And it also, making them readily available for people to see, making it easier, because doing this type of research is not easy. I mean, you have to have a lot of patience and fortitude to do it. But the fact that they are so easily accessible will make it, I think, is such a big plus for helping us to heal old wounds that have existed for a long period of time.
So you can make every story a story of triumph over that history, over the sad history or the tragic history, but only if you learn the tragic history and learn from those lessons that we all should take away from the past.
You can't function in the present because you can't relate to the past. And your past dictates what you need to do in the present, because we rely back on what our parents taught us. That was teachings that we got even before we went to school. And they taught us to do the right thing. But until we, make that recognizable in our mind to where we have to keep up those same values, then we might do anything out in society. So we have to kind of learn more or less, what's the right thing to do. And the right thing to do is to treat people right. That's what it's all about.
Because one of the things about slavery that is so striking to me in many ways about the people who experienced slavery is that they survived. And the abilities to survive, is such a positive thing. And while they may not have come out completely intact, they came out of it with hope of something better.
Placing these documents in broad daylight, making them accessible, and talking about it, bringing it into discussion for the community, I hope it's an example for other municipalities to do the same. Dangerous place to go. But I'm gonna burn that mountain and knock up on my baby's door.